Hi Summits, let's sew a ruched gown with side drawstrings. So now the first thing is to rule your shoulder line. So I'm using this ruler as a mark for the shoulder line. It's just a random line, no specific measurements. And on this shoulder line, I'm going to be imputing my shoulder measurements divided by 2. But first, let's take the full length of the dress, right? The full length of the dress is the same length as of this fabric because I wanted it to be as long as possible so that the ruche effect can be very obvious. And then at this point, I'm marking the waist measurement or the shoulder to waist measurement, which is 18 inches for me. It can be more or less for you. And you can even decide to use more, provided you have enough fabric, right? It gives more room for the fullness of the sleeve. So around that side on the shoulder line, like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be taking my shoulder measurements divided by 2, which is 7.5. And at this point, I'm just cross-checking what I have left of this fabric because I already folded into 2. Mind you, this fold is into 4 but separately, such that I can cut both back and front at the same time. So now from that center point, I'm marking 3.25 inches for my neck width, and then 2 inches down for neck depth for the back, and 4 inches down for the neck depth for the front. Please, if this is confusing, you can rewind and play slowly so that you can hear me better. So the reason for that 3.25 is such that when I sew in, it will not be too wide at the neck area, right? So now I'm just covering this out for both back and front neckline. So at the neck point there, I'm going to be connecting to the other side of the fabric. But before then, you're going to go down by 2.5 inches to create a slope, because we don't want this bubble dress hanging on our shoulder like there is more to it. So we're going to be creating a slope with that 2.5 inches that we came downward towards the neck point, right? So having done all of this, I'm going to be adding half of an inch allowance because we're cutting directly on the fabric. It's not a pattern paper, right? So I'm going to be adding half of an inch allowance to that shoulder slope, the front neckline, and the back neckline. So when I'm cutting on the fabric directly, I am sure that I'm not short of any measurements around these areas. Mind you guys, if you want your sleeve to be longer than this, the longer the sleeve length, the more the volume rather. So feel free to add more. So around this waist measurements that I did earlier, I'm going to be going in by my original hip measurements divided by 4, because this bubble is meant to be free, right? So hip measurements divided by 4, I'm going to add 2 inches to that because we're going to be using that 2 inches to sew. But to achieve extra fullness, we're going to be adding as much as you want. So here I just did, I think, a minimum of 5 to 6 inches wide. Mind you, if you multiply that by 4, you're going to be having more fullness, right? Because this fabric is folded into 4. So whatever measurement you take around that area, you take it all the way down. If you want a particular shape to your bubble, you can add it in your cutting allowance and all of that, but I just want this bubble to be straight, so I'm making that a straight line straight to the hem. I'm sorry guys, the camera didn't catch the hem line, but I'm sure you get the gist already. So around this area where I'm pointing at, I'm going to be curving it to the sleeve area, right? Just a slight curve. Then at that point, I'll be adding two a 1.5 inch extra. I'm sorry I'm not getting my figures right because now I can't really see the figures I'm adding, but yeah, okay, I think I measured it here. The ruler is about 1.5 inches in width, so I'm using that as a casing for our drawstring to give us the ruche effect, right? So I'm just rolling that down as well. and I'm connecting it back with a curve towards the armhole area or the underarm area, like so. So now if we're sewing, we're going to be taking note of these two measurements that we have there, because that's what we're going to be sewing our drawstring to. So now I'm just going to cut out our fabric. So first you cut off the back, because we placed both back and front fabric on top of each other. Then you lift the front part a bit so you don't cut it together with the back pattern. So now you're going to cut off the shoulder of both, cut the shoulder slope that we created there, and then lift the front fabric up to cut the front neckline. So mind you, this style is going to be having a slit at the front neckline. So I just went down by 4 inches from the neck depth for the front, and then I went down a bit more to give it that slit effect. And then I smoothened out the arm region because the fabrics were not looking aligned at that side. And then I cut off the sides here, so we have a clean smooth curve already. So right now you can see, if you open up your fabric, this is what you should have. But at this point I was working with a very light fabric, so I had to give my fabric a lining, and I used that lining to turn it all round. If you like, you can use an interfacing, it's not a must, but this fabric was really light and I needed to just give it a bit of weight. So now you can see I have done the overlocking for the arm region where the elastic is going to enter, and here I'm just going to pass the elastic. Mind you, make the elastic the circumference of where you want your sleeve to end so that you can hold it down firmly. Now I'm going to pass the elastic into that casing that you are seeing there. Once it gets to the end, I'm going to pin it down to secure the elastic and then draw it such that you can see the ruched effect even on the sleeve region. And that's the work of the elastic, right? So just ensure that you make it the exact size of your region where this sleeve is going to end, or you can just add a bit of allowance if you don't want it to be as tight as such because it is elastic, right? So now, having done all of this, we're now going to move towards creating our ruched effect by the side. As you can see, from the hem I measured upward where I want the ruched effect to stop, and you can see the hem region. I've already sewn that in. The elastic is in place, the slit is well tailored now. So now the ruched effects, I'm going to be using our allowance at that region to create a casing for where our drawstring is going to be. So you can measure, make it as long as you want. Here I just measured a few inches upwards, but before the curve actually, so that it doesn't enter inside that curve for the armhole. So you can notch this area, you can chalk it out if you don't want to cut it, and then you see this is how we're going to place it. You flip it in such a way that the machine can sew over it, and you must have had your casing ready, your drawstring I mean ready. So the drawstring is just a single rope that you have created, and you're going to be sewing on that rope. So you'll be inserting the rope right in the middle of this casing hoops that we have, and then you're going to secure it at the top first before you now sew it all the way down. So right here on the sewing machine, you can see I went ahead to chalk that part out, flip the fabric, the dress to the other side such that it can accommodate itself under the feeder of the machine. You open it out like so, and then you pick the point that you want sewn, like that, where you want your sewing to end. Now you're going to take your already made drawstring rope that you can see here, you push it underneath the seam allowance. First, secure the top part, then fold the remaining casing allowance inside. But you don't want it to be the same width as the drawstring rope, right? You still want to leave a bit of room so that when you are done sewing it down, you'll be able to pull it, adjust it, and then take it back. So right here, this is what I have. This is what this outfit is looking like. It's pretty easy and fast forward to make. Please do try it out and let me know what you think. How do you feel about it? Would you rock this any day, anytime? And voila, this is what we ended up with as our drawstring or ruched effect bubu. It's a very easy to make dress. It doesn't take time. Just get your figures right and you get it all done pretty easily, right? So here, this is what we have as the end result. Please kindly subscribe, like, comment, share, all the good stuff, and this would encourage me to make more videos. Thank you so much. Love you guys. Until next time, keep sewing, keep creating. Bye.